Remember me, if I seem confused. Didn't used to be, I think my mind's overused. Wish I could be, just like we thought for you. Still love and care.
Remember me.
Remember me.
Remember me. Remember me.
Dementia meant a lot to me because my granddad had it.
As I was a carer for my mum, she had dementia. Although I was terrified at first, but once I started doing it, I found it very fulfilling and gratifying actually.
My nan had it before she passed away many years ago. I just had to kind of remember my nan and how she was before.
It means a change in personality, losing that personal touch with people because they can't grasp a memory that you might have with them from years ago.
Remember me, if I seem confused.
It's affected me quite personally with my gran. Obviously my gran didn't recognise me at the end. She thought I was a brother.
The person's not there. The person isn't there anymore.
Who cares for the carers? Who cares for the people who care for the ones that we love? Oh, who cares for the carers? Who cares for the people who care for the ones that we love?
Well, my mother had dementia for over 27 years. She had vascular dementia, so to me it's that type of dementia that the word dementia means to me. My mother never actually changed from being my mother, but she had short-term memory loss, which is classic of vascular dementia, so that's what dementia means to me. I felt it was cruel for my mother because she lived till she was 97, so she had 27 years of dementia. And when my father was alive, it was fine because he covered for the short-term memory loss. Frida, you put the kettle on. Frida, you forgot to do this. It was when he died that I realised just how bad it was. And I never left her on her own one night. I had to bring her over to Health Home. And very quickly I got her into a care home because I realised I could not offer her 24/7, which is what she needed.
Dementia to me is very personal because of my mother. She passed away last year, and she had dementia in the last, I would say, 2 years of her life, although the end was quite rapid. I think for her own purposes she would write down sort of like family occasions, people's birthdays and things like that. So on the outside it looked like she was remembering things and she was in control, but I think that was maybe strategies that she put in place.
Dementia is really sad and really difficult because I think it's misunderstood and by everybody, including many of those who live with it. So the more we can do to raise awareness of dementia and in all its various forms, the better for everybody concerned.
My own mother had it, so I've seen it, and I think one of the worst things about that is that people don't realise that how nasty people can become with dementia, and they've got no control over it.
Remember me, if I seem.
The one word that said it all to me was upsetting.
I'd say isolating.
Oh, memory. Memory, yeah. I would probably say in a nutshell, unseen.
Losing, yeah.
Fear,
Difficult.
frustration, tough.
Say lonely. Hope, I think.
Stressful.
In one way I would want to say something like tragic.
Sum it up, is heartbreaking.
Cruel.
Heartbreaking.
It's horrendous.
Oh, it's cruel.
Frustration.
Because I had no experience, it was really hard. Like, she'd say things, I'd get frustrated, and I'd say, no, that's not right, Mum, you know. And I had no help or support at that time. There was nowhere to go. she used to phone me like 44 times a day on the answer machine, and it was hard, but I had to, I couldn't answer everyone.
I think for me, it was the thing about my dad's dementia is that he still remembered everybody. So for me, it was really good that I visited him quite a few times during this, and he still remembered me, and we can still talk about, old times and things like that. He was always kind of a very popular guy, in the pub and things like that, and he was able to still talk about bits and pieces that we'd done together,
Dementia, for me, is something that takes someone away from both their family and from themselves. I think it's something that it's an incredibly cruel disease for the person that is experiencing it, but also for the family and people that care for that person as well. I think there is an assumption that the person that has dementia doesn't necessarily know that it's happening to them, but certainly in the case with my gran, she was very aware of it, particularly in the earlier stages, and it frightened her. It frightened us as well as we watched her go through it. And it's the fact that there is nothing you can do about it for them, and it just progressively gets worse. And I think that's why it's just such an awful thing to watch someone go through.
So this song is about your mum.
Yes, here's my
You've
mum.
got a picture there, lovely picture of your
Picture of my
mum.
mum, Shirley Jean.
Shirley Jean, great. And is that the title of the song?
It is.
Shirley Jean, where have you been? I've been thinking about you. A photograph, a stolen laugh, all roads lead back to you. Another innocence lost, another puzzle left undone. It's hard to find words you should say, so I will put you in my song and let the music play on and on. Who can know how your garden grows when you let nobody in? Here comes the sun for everyone. The sound of silence is deafening. Da da da, da 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 da. And I've been dreaming of you. And I've been lost without you.
It's an unseen illness, and obviously there's no cure for it, is there really? And it's a big, I think younger people have it now more these days, and it's like, we need to spread more awareness about dementia.
Well, I think we should start off with the businesses first, to understand if somebody comes into the shop and they purchase something and they just offer you a handful of money, then you've got to question why do they do that. Because when you have dementia, you lose your guile. And so it's a classic example. They can't count out the money for themselves. They're probably a bit fussed because they're in a shop. And if they do that, and then they trust you to take the right amount of money, alarm bells should ring. You shouldn't stop serving, and you should treat them the same way as you treat anybody else. But in your head, you should be now thinking, I've got somebody special. I remember that person next time they come.
I think it's about having lots more support there. So it's about when people have got dementia, it's kind of, there are ways of keeping that person kind of connected and active. You know, people respond to music and stuff like that. And I think, you know, there's lots more community-led things like that. Kind of, you know, the person's still there and you still want to kind of give them a quality of life.
I think the thing actually around her with the not being able to process things like the money side of things, if there was ways that people could help with that, she ended up having to use cash because she couldn't remember a PIN number. and we found that if she had a card, she would have the PIN number with her and would then say it out loud as she did it. And it's ways around maybe that.
It's around public awareness. It's about doing events that have dementia at the heart of it, being involved in the creative arts, the traders and businesses being prepared to embrace it, whether that is putting some videos in their shops or putting out, supporting any projects that dementia is at the heart of. Local council support is key. That it's not seen as a badge of dishonour, but a badge of honour to support anything to do with making awareness of dementia a much more socially acceptable and socially inclusive part of the world.
I know this day, and I know this moment, today that came to me anew. Old songs, my driftwood, came rolling up on my beach today. And grants me my one wish to be free. And grant me my one wish to breathe.
And I've seen a 99-year-old woman got complete dementia, nothing, and then we'll start singing a song, and they'll sing every single word, more than I can't remember the words myself, but they'll remember every single word of the song. And you think, well, how's the brain that, you know, it's still all in there somewhere. It's getting it out, isn't it? If you think you could do that for people with dementia, that's lovely. I think that's really nice. That's what one of the things I can get from it.
I remember one time turning up at the care home, and I used to like going about 3:30 because you got a very nice cup of tea, and they made lovely tea, and I'd nip in round about 3:30, and most of them were seated at the table, but a lot of them were still sitting in their armchairs in the other room, and the staff came out with the teapots, and one man started to sing, and he said, "She's my lady love," and with a nanosecond 30 people who a second before, if you said who are you, would have gone where are you, all of a sudden they knew every single word of that. They sang it all the way through, and a member of staff nudged me and she said, "Leave them to it, we'll just stay here." And they sang it all the way through, right through. She's the lily of Laguna, she's my lily and my love. And I just thought, this is wonderful, and that's what they did there. They constantly played music.
Remember me, if I seem confused. It used to be, I think my mind's overused. Wish I could be, just like before for you. Still love and care, it won't be fair, but please remember